Tonight, millions have already cast their ballot for this year's election, when we could start seeing results from early voting.
And more restrictions. That's what Michigan's governor is calling for after seeing thousands of new COVID cases pop up.
And getting a lifeline, how Duluth's tourism industry could be getting a little financial support to help attract winter tourists.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Bakke.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. We are now 1 week away from Election Day, and many people have already cast their vote.
But with all the early voting, one question on many people's minds is, when will we know the results once the polls close? CBS 3's Emma Quinn spoke with several county clerks today to find out.
St. Louis County Clerk Phil Chapman says they have been getting ready for quite some time, and they are right on schedule to get those polling places up and running and to count those absentee ballots. Now, Chapman says they did expect an increase in absentee ballots this year due to the pandemic. As of today, voters in St. Louis County have requested 56,600 absentee ballots, and almost 41,000 of those have been returned. Counting those ballots could take longer than the typical night of elections because Minnesota's legislature made a change to absentee ballot voting. If a ballot is postmarked on or before November 3rd, counties in Minnesota can still count ballots up to November 10th.
Should be aware that the numbers are going to change over the course of time as we receive and tabulate the additional absentee ballots.
Now, Chapman says they have been able to start putting ballots through the machine, but aren't able to access race totals until 8 p.m. on Election Day, when those polls close. Now, Chapman says the number of absentee ballots that they have seen this year is almost 3 times the amount they saw in the 2016 presidential election.
All right, thanks, Emma. And let's now take a look at how and when you need to return your ballots in the tri-state area here. In Minnesota, the current rule says your mail-in ballots must be postmarked by Election Day. It has to arrive at your clerk's office by November 10th. That rule is currently facing a Republican challenge in court, which could overturn the 7-day counting extension. Attorneys for the Secretary of State's office say it's too close to the election to change the rule. You can return your absentee ballot in person no later than 3 p.m. on Election Day to the same election office that sent your ballot. You can apply for an absentee ballot anytime except the day of the election.
In Wisconsin, after weeks of back and forth within the court system, all ballots will be due on November 3rd. The deadline to request a ballot by mail is this Thursday. Your ballot must be received by 8 p.m. Election Day. Democrats fought for a 6-day extension for mail-in ballots due to pandemic-related delays. The Supreme Court ruled the deadline will remain.
And finally, in Michigan, your mail-in ballot must be received by November 3rd. You may also return your ballot in person by 8 p.m. on Election Day. The deadline to request a ballot by mail is 5 p.m. Friday. All 3 states will have polling places open for in-person voting on Election Day.
With Election Day only a week out, Superior needs more people to work at polling locations. According to the mayor's office, the city has already received more than 6,000 absentee and early voting ballots. With Wisconsin seeing its highest COVID-19 infection rates to date, some volunteers have decided to back out. So far this year, no employees have tested positive at polling locations during the spring election or special election for the 7th Congressional District. If you're interested in volunteering, you can find more information on our website.
All right, let's get a quick look at the weather. Dave, not only was it windy out there today, it was a freezing cold start to the morning.
Yeah, we had some single digits around the region this morning, so we'll take a look at the map, and I'll tell you right off the bat here, coolest place in Minnesota seems to have been Brimson at 2 above, and in Wisconsin, Gordon at 5 above, Ironwood 7 above. And it was a bit brisk in Hibbing and Silver Bay and Solon Springs and Hayward as well. Tomorrow, not so bad. Temperatures are going to double. We'll be in the 20s above zero tomorrow morning as that low pressure system from the west skirts along the Canadian border. It's creating clouds and pulling up some southerly wind into the region here. And so that means low temps probably in the mid-20s to start the day tomorrow. So we take a look at our forecast for tomorrow. It says the sky should be mostly cloudy from the low pressure system. And there's a 20 to 30% chance we'll get a dusting of a rain-snow mix as that thing passes by our region. But there's the morning start at 25. The daytime finish in the afternoon at 42 is at least closer to normal than we've been for a while. Is that a sign we'll get back to normal? Well, I'll show you the 7-day forecast, and we'll figure it out together in just a few more minutes.
Thanks, Dave. Duluth's tourism industry could soon get a lifeline after COVID-19 hindered revenue for many attractions and businesses. The Duluth Economic Development Authority is set to vote Wednesday on whether or not to give Visit Duluth a $100,000 grant. Money they hope would lead to extra visitors this winter. CBS 3's Leanne Valdez explains what the money would go towards and how it could help.
A lot of Visit Duluth's money comes from tax revenue, and because of the pandemic, since March, they've seen a steep decline. It forced Visit Duluth to lay off a majority of its staff. DETA leaders say this $100,000 grant would help Visit Duluth fund a winter marketing campaign aimed at supporting the entire tourism industry, including places like Bentleyville and Spirit Mountain and other attractions and businesses. Close to 20% of that money would go toward funding 2 full-time Visit Duluth staff in November and December to carry out the campaign. According to DEED, Duluth's hospitality unemployment rate is at 25%, and tourism tax collections are 30% below this time last year. Ahead of Wednesday's vote, DETA leaders say they hope this grant could be a catalyst in changing that.
Yes, there is a vetting. We really did feel like it was it made sense because it is such a multiplier and impacts the whole hospitality industry here in Duluth. So our role is to help facilitate economic development. And
Visit Duluth laid off some staff this summer. DETA leaders say Visit Duluth had a second round of layoffs on October 1st. DETA is set to vote on the grant Wednesday evening.
Thanks, Leanne. And by the way, DETA is funded through parking revenue and other sources.
Leaders in Itasca County are seeing reduced spread of COVID-19, but they warn they're not quite out of the woods yet. As of last Friday, the county's 14-day positivity rate per 10,000 residents stood at 39. Earlier this month, that number was 54. However, the Minnesota Department of Health suggests communities have control of the spread when the rate is 10 or lower. The county's public health department is still asking everyone to social distance, wear a mask, and avoid gatherings.
6 more people died of COVID today in Wisconsin than any other days so far over the course of the pandemic. The state reported 64 deaths. Governor Tony Evers called it a concerning and tragic milestone. The state also set a record for the highest number of new cases at more than 5,200. Even more troubling, the virus is spreading more rapidly in the state. It took 7 months to hit 100,000 cases in Wisconsin, but just 36 days to hit 200,000 cases. Evers had a candid warning for Wisconsinites.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. We are facing an urgent crisis, and there is an imminent risk to you, your family members, your friends, your neighbors, and the people you care about.
Evers adds people need to stop treating the virus like it won't happen to them and continue taking precautions like wearing masks, staying home, and socially distancing. Meanwhile, Michigan is reporting more than 14,000 new cases of COVID-19 in the last week.
Now, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is calling attention to the rise in coronavirus cases in the state. She says more restrictions are needed. Andrew Feather reports.
Michigan reports more than 14,000 cases of COVID-19 in the past week. That's the highest single-week case count since the pandemic began in March. Now, Governor Gretchen Whitmer says the state may need to increase restrictions to bring cases under control.
As we're navigating next steps, if the numbers continue to increase, it's possible we may have to turn the dial back.
Whitmer says the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services has the authority to issue statewide restrictions, including another shutdown. Right now, MDHHS has statewide capacity limits on gatherings and a mask mandate in place. Those are emergency orders the agency issued after the state Supreme Court upended Whitmer's executive orders.
I'm willing to work with anybody who wants to solve these problems, but to stick our head in the sand and say that we're not going to even do masks tells you that we really do need more partners in Lansing.
Whitmer blames the sharp increase in cases on confusion and a lack of compliance following the court's decision, as well as discord with the Republican-led legislature. House Speaker Lee Chatfield, a Republican, says by issuing orders and restrictions, MDHHS is overstepping its legal bounds. So far, courts haven't ruled on challenges to MDHHS orders.
Yeah, I think the Supreme Court has spoken loud and clear that the Constitution is still a Constitution and no amount of partisan politics can change that. And the warning they gave to the administration was that it's now time to partner with the legislative branch.
Last week, legislative Republicans released a plan that would give counties more control, including opting out of restrictions if transmission levels reached certain thresholds.
But it can't be a one-size-fits-all approach that Michigan implemented at the very beginning. This is going to have to be a lot of cooperation between the legislative branch and the executive.
The pandemic orders from MDHHS are set to expire on October 30th. Governor Whitmer says they will be extended before this week is over.
Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, after 6 years of work and funding from the recently passed bonding bill, a local project is starting up. Details coming up next.
Today's high temp of 30 degrees is 16 degrees cooler than normal, but tomorrow we'll get within 4 degrees of the norm. Is that a sign of normalcy to return? I'll let you know what the 7-day forecast coming up right after the break.
Live, local, CBS 3 News at 6 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, Kelly Hinson, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live, local, CBS 3. Watch Jeopardy at 4:30, followed by CBS 3 Live at 5 on Live, local, CBS 3.
I'm Quinn Nystrom, and I pay $600 a month for 2 vials of insulin, and that's with insurance. Meanwhile, drug company profits go up and up. It's why I refuse to take their money for my campaign. But Pete Stauber has taken tens of thousands of dollars from corporate interests and voted 5 times against lowering the cost of prescription drugs. I approve this message because I know we literally can't afford Pete Stauber in Congress.
Moving to mornings, obviously, with Jenna, I had worked weekends with her, and it was great. We're always there to be able to still joke around, still have that personality, but still obviously bring the news, the weather.
Caitlin has been there since day one when I first started at CBS 3, and she's super knowledgeable about meteorology. She loves it, and she's so interested in teaching other people things about it as well. And I just think we're such a good pair for that reason.
Watch Jenna and Caitlin in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m. on CBS 3.
With ongoing racial unrest in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and across the nation, we're digging into the role race could play on the 2020 election.
CBS 3's Anthony Mapp hears from Northland black voters about what's driving them to the polls and what it means for our local and national elections.
All of what we're experiencing is only amplifying what's already there.
CBS 3 News presents Race and Campaign 2020, Thursday, October 29th at 6:30 p.m., only on CBS 3.
We can help you at Ketamine North Infusion Center.
I was stuck in a gray area. The first treatment, I actually laughed and scared myself because I hadn't heard myself laugh in years.
Visit us online. Be well with us at Ketamine North Infusion.
Red Zone Live is the perfect opportunity to get all of your local high school football in one place. And you're getting perspective and analysis from a former player himself, right, Neil?
That's right, Kelly. I played 4 years in the high school level and 4 years in the college level.
You can't help but feed off the energy of all these schools and all these athletes. I'm Kelly Hinsa.
And I'm Neil Viersba.
You can watch Red Zone Live following the news every Friday night during the high school football season starting at 10:20 on CBS 3.
With ongoing racial unrest across the nation, we're digging into the role race could play on the 2020 election.
CBS 3 News presents Race and Campaign 2020.
Watch Jeopardy at 4:30, followed by CBS 3 Live at 5 on Live, local, CBS 3.
It is the question that matters the most.
¿Dónde está?
That takes you behind the story.
Robert.
It drives everything we do. It is the foundation of trust.
Who did all of this?
And the truth that propels us forward.
What did you make of that?
It is the question. 1 word, 3 letters long. And without it, our purpose,
that's news,
and our freedom fade. This is why.
The Kelly Clarkson Show, weekdays at 3 on CBS 3. CBS 3 weather is brought to you by St. Luke's. Now, the CBS 3 Duluth Weather Max forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
Well, the winds have kicked up today, and that means a gale warning continues on Lake Superior. Last night, it helped egg on a little bit of a wind chill factor for inland parts of our region, where air temperatures went into the single digits and the winds kicked them below zero by a couple of degrees. We won't have to worry about that tonight. Sure, it'll still be windy. Don't go boating on the lake, but with temperatures rising into the 20s for our low temperatures here. What's -5 off the wind chill with that? Not such a big deal at all. It's a sign of temperatures trying to return to normal for the next 7 days. May not be overly successful most of the days, but we're getting closer. So this morning was probably the coldest of the batch for at least the next 7. Well, let's take a look at what's going on right now before we talk about the future. And at this moment, it's 30 degrees at Duluth International Airport. The relative humidity is at 51%. Our wind southwesterly 18 miles per hour. 29.93 inches of mercury is our air pressure, and that's starting to drop towards the lower side. As a trough of low pressure passes by tonight, that'll increase clouds, help increase temperatures, but also increase a chance for a touch of a rain and snow mix. It's only about 30% though. Current temperatures go from 29 to 30 in the Upper Peninsula and 30 to 33 in northwestern Wisconsin. Cool spot seems to be Hayward. Warm spot appears to be Superior. And in Minnesota, we've dipped into the upper 20s here once you get north of the Vermilion Range. Ely's at 28, so is Orr. Well, Hibbing there on the Mesabi's there as well. So for low temps here tonight, we're falling into the 20s around the region. Sure better than like 2 to 5, which a lot of towns had this morning, including places like Brimson and Gordon. Well, the Doppler map right now shows the low pressure system coming in from North Dakota, riding along the Canadian border. The clouds have been pushed in, and now a little bit of light flurry activity, potentially mixed in with rain, is starting to come down here and there as well. But as far as accumulations go, this chance could last through tomorrow afternoon. But if it leaves 1/100 of an inch worth, that's probably about the best we're going to get, 1/100 to 1/10. Not much there at all. That trough of lower pressures, flurry chance for tomorrow is about 20 to 30% for our region. And then once that passes by Thursday, fresh high pressure settles in to bring back the sun and chase away any precip chance until about next Tuesday or so. We'll be sunny and dry, but maybe not overly warm, except for a couple of days when we could get back towards normal. And now it's time to show you which days those are going to be. Forecast tonight in Minnesota, that's not bad for temperature, 25 to 30 above, with that 30% chance for the rain-snow mix. Wisconsin and Michigan gets that 30% chance as well, with low temps there, mid-20s around Hayward to upper 20s towards Ashland. And now we swing into tomorrow for Wisconsin and Michigan, and with a cloudier sky, 20 to 30% chance for a few more spits of flurries and showers. High temps 40 to 43, normal's 46, that's close. Minnesota high temps should go from 38 to 42. We'll call that close to normal as well. And as normal probably falls in the next couple of days, I think we'll actually be normal both Saturday and Tuesday with highs near 45 degrees. And then with that new high coming in, Tony, look at that. On the sunnier side, from Thursday through next Tuesday, we could maybe say winter began around here for inland towns, at least on the 17th with that snow that stuck. But this week, we're not going to add much to it at all.
Hey, you know, if it's going to be an early winter arrival, at least we got quite a bit of sun in that forecast. I'll take that.
Yeah, that should be rather pleasant, rather beautiful, especially on Sunday.
It looks like it. Thanks, Dave.
A big project on the Iron Range is finally getting underway.
Yeah, after 6 years of work, Nashwauk, Keewatin, and Lone Pine Township held a groundbreaking ceremony today. Thanks to the recently passed bonding bill, they now have the money to start work on their joint wastewater treatment project. Keewatin's mayor says Phase 1 will cost around $9 million. It will connect the city to Nashwauk's wastewater treatment system. Keewatin has been struggling with its decades-old sewer plant.
It's going to solve a huge problem for Keewatin. Our plant, we've been sticking thousands and thousands of dollars into repairs, you know, just to keep it operational. And it doesn't meet standards.
Phase 2 will connect Lone Pine Township to the treatment system. The mayor says it's expected to cost around $7 million. The project is also expected to save residents money on their utility bills.
You can get a free ride to Duluth's warming shelter this year. Starting on November 4th, the Duluth Transit Authority will have buses running to both Superior and Duluth shelters. Check out our website for more details.
Coming up in sports, the Minnesota Wilderness season is on hold for the time being. Kelly explains why coming up next in sports.
With ongoing racial unrest across the nation, we're digging into the role race could play on the 2020 election.
CBS3 News presents Race and Campaign 2020.
Von Duluth Casino is hiring. Apply today.
CBS3 Live Cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price plus free shipping.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers. In 2015, the Internal Agency for Research on Cancer warned that overexposure to Roundup and other weed killers may increase the risk of developing non-Hodgkin lymphoma. More evidence found that Monsanto may have known that Roundup was likely linked to organ damage and cancer. This information was hidden from the public as proprietary trade secret since 1981, and Monsanto may have failed to adequately warn about the potential risk of cancer. A California jury found Monsanto's weed killer caused a groundkeeper's cancer and issued a verdict for $78 million. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with cancer after being exposed to Roundup or other weed killers, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call the Sentinel Group now. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor.
Please call 800-627-1826.
We've been down this road long enough, but Tom Tiffany wants to keep us going in the wrong direction. Even during a pandemic, Tiffany supports taking away protections for pre-existing conditions, kicking millions off their health insurance, and forcing you to pay more. There's another way. Tricia Zunker. Zunker will put our families first with better health care and help for small businesses, workers, and farmers to get our economy moving again. Tricia Zunker for Congress.
I'm Tricia Zunker, and I approve this message.
I'm Sean Mullen, a physician assistant at St. Luke's Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. I first became interested in orthopedics from my own injuries in high school sports. I became fascinated with the way the body recovers and heals. You only get one body, so if you take care of it well, that will pay dividends for you down the road. Taking a patient who is in a bad place from an injury or a condition, knowing that you're a part of their care and helping to increase their quality of life is one of my favorite things about working here.
Season 2 is
The
here,
Kelly
y'all.
Clarkson Show, weekdays at 3 on CBS3.
The Minnesota Wilderness season was originally a go. The team was set to have its home opener this Saturday evening hosting St. Cloud. A slight change of plans. The Wilderness have officially pushed their home opener all the way to November 14th. The team attributed the shift in schedules along with 2 other teams due to complications caused by COVID-19. Taken in abundance of caution in an effort to operate as safe as possible for teams, players, staff, and fans. The matchup between the Wilderness and the Norsemen scheduled for Saturday will now be played on Wednesday, March 3rd at Northwoods Credit Union Arena. And in other hockey news, former Bulldog and Hermantown native Jared Thomas has a new home to play professional hockey. Thomas was traded from the Florida Everblades to the Indy Fuel of the ECHL earlier today. The Fuel are a direct affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. The 26-year-old played in 50 games last season with the Tulsa Oilers before signing with the Everblades this season. He has been splitting time between the AHL and ECHL in his pro career. His season in the ECHL is scheduled to start on December 11th. The U.S. women's national team is at work down in Blaine, Minnesota for the 3rd day of their evaluation camp. A total of 3 Bulldogs, 2 former and 1 current, are taking part in the action this week. Junior forward Gabby Hughes, as well as former Bulldogs turned pros forward Sydney Brott and goaltender Maddie Rooney. Camp wraps up this Saturday at the Blaine Super Rink. The Wisconsin high school volleyball season is a few weeks ahead of Minnesota right now, having started earlier in September. They're also one of the sports that the WIAA is allowing to hold a state tournament. And Northwestern is still alive. The Tigers took down regional top seed Barron over the weekend to advance to the sectionals for the first time since 2006. They started the season 0-4 and have completely turned their season around since. Head coach Charlie Hessel says the team has come a long way.
We knew that we were on the cusp from day one, and it feels pretty good now to actually have made it over the hill a little bit. And I knew that we were better than what our record indicated early on in the season. And but we look like such a completely different team right now.
I feel like we've definitely grown a lot as a team. We're all going through the same situation. We've all just been really bonding and growing closer through the tough times that we've had.
Going into this game, we have the mentality that we need to work hard, we need to push, we need to fight for every point, and that we do have the ability to come out on top.
And switching gears to baseball, Game 6 of the World Series is tonight in Arlington, Texas. The LA Dodgers lead the series 3-2 and have a chance tonight to earn their first championship since 1988. But standing in their way is a very talented Tampa Bay Rays team. Despite being number 28 in payroll among MLB teams, the Rays are not giving in and are looking to force a Game 7 with a win tonight. We'll have highlights and an update tonight at 10. That's going to do it for sports. For now, Kristen and Tony, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Kelly. Also, tonight on the CBS3 News at 10, in the last 3 weeks, Hibbing has seen a major rise in COVID-19 cases. According to the latest data, Hibbing and the Iron Range are dealt with some of the county's worst case growth. Tonight, we'll hear from St. Louis County health leaders on the issue of growing COVID cases and how they can be fixed. When you hear things go bump in the night,
yeah.
Are you brave enough to check it out?
It depends on my mood, but in most cases, yeah.
I guess the sound too, right?
Yeah, bump in the night. You know, things that, go bump in the night. Anyway, if you're not into checking it out, there is a group you can call. Obviously, it's Ghostbusters, and apparently they live in Wisconsin at this house in Milwaukee. The owners, Aaron and Jamie, do a big Halloween display every year, and this year, they decided to honor those 80s icons known for taking down demons and annihilating apparitions. The Ghostbusters firehouse is there, plus the character Slimer coming out of a hot dog cart, and the famous proton pack battle.
Yeah, who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's awesome. I know one of our fellow employees here is a big Ghostbuster himself. So
he's probably quite upset right now. They're stealing his thunder.
That he is not here, exactly.
That was my impression of him, too. Hey, Matt.
Well, let's get a final look at the weather. It's chilly out there.
All right, it shouldn't bump in the night too much here tonight as things try to calm down temperature-wise. In fact, we'll be bumping up our temps. Instead of single digits tomorrow morning, we'll be in the 20s for a lot of places. And then we rise to the occasion, hit 42. It'll be a cloudy day with a slight chance for a rain-snow mix. And then after that, it dries up all the way through Tuesday.
We'll see you at 10.
Thanks for joining us.